الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. In the previous lesson I was talking about some of the ahkam al-fiqhiyya about the name of Allah. Some of the ahkam which are related to the name of Allah. That means making the name najis is haram. Wujub al-tafseer, making the name tahir. I already talked about this. I'm just refreshing your memory and connecting with that lesson. Wujub al-tafseer means it's wajib to clean the name of Allah. If it gets najis, hurmatul had. Hurmatul had means is haram to disrespect it. Haram to disrespect the name of Allah. And hurmatul mas is haram to touch it without the taharat. Mamnu'iyatul jidal, that means it's mamnu and forbidden. Mamnu and forbidden to do the argument, jidal, mujadala, with the swearing by the name of Allah in the ihram of Hajj and ihram of Umrah, in the state of ihram of Hajj and Umrah. Number 6 was Nuzul Dhikr. It's compulsory to remember Allah in the sajda and ruku, sujood and ruku, like we discussed. It's wajib to say the zikr of Allah, like subhanallah, 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 or any other zikr which is equal in miqdar and magnitude to this, and I already talked about that. And number 7 was it's tazkiyah. That means it's a condition in our fiqh when we slaughter an animal. Zibh means slaughtering. Tazkiyah means process of making an animal halal. So in slaughtering and the process of making an animal halal to be eaten, it is ishtirak, means it's a condition to mention the name of Allah. That's another hukm fiqhi, another Islamic ruling. The Adam Haliyat al-Sayd, that means hunting is not halal, not permissible unless the name of Allah is mentioned. Why this and this has been mentioned separately? Because hunting is a separate unwan and title. You can send a hunting dog or hunting an animal, and then if you follow all the conditions of Syed and hunting in the fiqh, that animal hunted by the dog will be halal to eat according to its own conditions which are there. So this is called hunting. So there's a whole bunch of details on that. So hunting is making an animal, causing an animal to be halal is also, as having an ishtarat, is also conditional with mentioning the name of Allah. The ninth thing is the yameen, means qasam. Swearing is with the name of Allah only in our fiqh. With Allah, swearing is with Allah only. So we say not the name of Allah, with Allah. We say wallahi or billahi or tallahi, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The 10th and the last thing among the major rulings is istihbab. About but al-umur means beginning of all the affairs of life. Beginning of all the affairs of our life. In every matter of our life, it's mustahab to start it with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. These were some of the major rulings, and I discussed that already. Now I'm just reconnecting you with the previous lesson. One point before I move forward is that qasam only happens with with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to say Allah instead of using any of the other asma, other names of Allah. Qasam does not happen. Qasam happens with Allah's name in the processes which are mentioned in our chapter of judgment, Kitab al-Qada, Qada chapter of our fiqh. The Islamic process of judgment involves qasam and swearing, which in the Islamic process of swearing in front of the Qadi and Islamic judge happens with Allah only. So, whereas when it comes to the tabarruk, tabarruk in Arabic means getting blessed. If you want to seek blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the source of every blessing, if you want to seek the blessing of Allah and get blessed and be mutabarrik, get the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, blessing can happen with the asma, with the names of Allah as well. Swearing does not happen with the names, all the asma of Allah. Swearing only happens with Allah in the Islamic court system. But blessing, getting blessed, seeking the blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the process of seeking the blessing can happen with the names of Allah as well. That's the last point to recall. Now let's move forward to some of the narrations, what some of the narrations have to, the discussion of narrations. Okay, shall I erase it?
No, sir.
Now, let's go to some of the narrations. This is one narration from Imam Rida alayhi salam. Our eighth Imam, he had said according to this narration in Nur Saqalain, Tafseer Nur Saqalain, volume 1, page 11. This narration says, Imam Rida alayhi salam, according to that narration, Imam Rida alayhi salam said, Ma'na qawlil qa'il, Bismillah. أي أسلم نفسي بسمة من سمات الله. When the narrator asked him, I will explain that. After Imam Islam said that, according to this narration, the narrator asked him, Mas Sima. What is Sima? And Imam Rida alayhi salam replies, according to this narration, Al-Alama. Let me put the i'rab. So, ma'na qawl al-qa'il, the statement of a person saying, Bismillah, that means anybody who says, Bismillah, I missed this. Yeah, sorry about that. I missed this thing here. The statement of a person saying Bismillah means that is, it means Asimu nafsi, I mark myself, M-A-R-K, I mark myself with a mark among the marks of Allah Azza wa Jal, وهي العبادة, and that mark is worship. The person asked Imam Rida, what is the mark? Imam Islam said the alamat, the sign. So when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, what we are doing is that we are marking our soul with the sign of Allah. So my teacher said in the Tafseer that Just like Alam al-Takmeen, the world of existences around us is full of the marks and signs of Allah. Every particle of the universe is a sign of God, is an ayat of Allah. Ayatullah means sign of God. Ayat means sign. Like we say ayat of Quran, signs of God. Every particle in the universe is an ayat of Allah, is a sign of God. So it reflects, it's a tajalli, it's a reflection, it's a madhar of one or more than one names of Allah. Every particle is reflecting God, and it's a sign, alamat, ayat of Allah. Just like our bodies likewise are reflecting, everything has tajalli and madhariyat and reflects, and it's a sign of God. Similarly, what we are supposed to do by saying Bismillah is to convert our soul through marking, put the mark on your soul. By doing the ibadat of Allah, put a mark on your soul, and that mark is the mark of Allah. Put that mark of Allah on your soul. This is what we are trying to do when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we are, in other words, making the alamut tashri', the world of Sharia legislature, get synced up, become in sync with alamut takmeen, the rest of the existences around us, which are already busy in the ibadat and worship of Allah, and they are all carrying the mark of God, the mark of worship of Allah. We need to carry the mark of worship of Allah in our soul, just like our bodies and the rest of the things in the universe, part of the alam al-takmeen, already have the mark of worship, mark of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is busy in the ibadat of Allah. That's how our soul should also become. So we basically sync up the world of tashri', Sharia legislature, which obliges us and the jinns only, humans and jinns only, we mark our soul to become synced up with the rest of the creatures. Syncing up alamut tashri' with alamut takmeen through the mark of ibadat. When you perform the ibadat, you are putting a mark on your soul. This soul is marked with the mark of Allah. This is what we are supposed to do. And this is what we do with Bismillah.
Isn't that similar to the same root?
Sorry?
Similar and isn't from the same root?
It's the same root word, yeah. Same root word. It's from al-wasm. The root of sima, this word, the root is waw and sin and mim. Al-wasm, that's the masdar. Al-wasm. The waw gets dropped and the ta is added at the end and it becomes sima. So fa'ul fail gets dropped and the ta is added. Just like wasi'a and yasa'u. So it becomes si'a. It was waw and sin and ayn and it converts into si'a. Similarly, waw and sin and mim converts to sima grammatically. So ibadat has a zuhur. Talking in terms of the urufa, ibadat has zuhur, should have zuhur, an appearance in your soul. Should have tajalli of Allah. Zuhur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your soul. There has to be a flash of the nur of Allah arriving in your soul through the ibadat. The nur should come. When the nur of Allah comes, it starts. This soul has the mark of God on it, and this is because of the zuhur, the appearance of the appearance of the tajalli of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one point. that we learned from this one hadith. Let's go to the next point. Can I erase it? Second point is related to مبدأ الاشتقاق. مبدأ الاشتقاق means the source of deriving the word. In Arabic, we always go to the source of the word. It makes you understand what actually the whole thing is all about. If you understand the source, it makes your life easy. You can relate to it easily and understand in depth. So, ilah means here we have hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Where he said that Wallahu ilahu kulli shay. Arabic, when you put the hamza on top of a waw, on top of a ya, you can put the taneen under the hamza, the i'rab under the hamza as well. That's also possible, so don't get confused. Whenever there is a hamza on top of a waw or hamza on top of a ya, it is actually not waw and not ya, it is actually hamza. And why they put the waw or the ya? There's a grammatical reason to it, why we put the waw or the ya, but actually it's hamza. So we don't say shay'in, we don't pronounce it like a ya, we say shay'in, because it's actually a hamza. So wallahu ilahu kulli shay. So we learn from the light of this hadith, and that's narrated in Tafseer Ayyashi, volume 1, page 22. So, according to this hadith, we learn that Allah is the ilah of everything. What is the meaning of the word ilah? Allah is the ilah of everything. Ilah is someone who is worshipped. So, I'm explaining. Let's go to another hadith. That's from Hisham ibn al-Hakam. Hisham ibn al-Hakam was a great mutafaqih and mutakallim in the time of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and Imam Ibrahim alayhi salam, the student of both of the Imams. Very siqa and authentic companion, Hisham ibn al-Hakam. He narrates from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam about Asma'ullah, the names of Allah, and its ishtiqaq, the deriving of the names. Imam alayhi salam said, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to him, according to that narration, Imam alayhi salam said to him that Allahu huwa mushtaqun min ilah wa ilahun yaqtadi ma'luhan. So Allah is derived from Ilah, and Ilah necessitates a ma'lu. Ma'lu is someone who is worshipped. The one who is worshipped is called ma'lu. Obviously that is God. God who is worshipped. The one who is worshipped is called ma'lu. So, and the word Ilah, Allah is derived from Ilah. So the word Ilah we learn necessitates this meaning of being ma'lu, means the one who is worshipped, the worshipped one. So Allah means the worshipped one. It's the ishtiqaq from Ilah, and that's what we learn in the light of the hadith. Let's go to a third hadith from Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. Where he said, according to this narration, which is narrated in Nur Sakaran 113. Nur Sakaran, volume 1, page 13. Here, according to this narration, Imam Ali has said, Allah, it's a long narration which I am skipping the rest, what is related to our discussion. Huwa alladhi yata'allaq ilayhi عند الحوادث. والشدائد. If today we understand this much, it's very worth the time. كل مخلوق. عند انقطاع الرجاء. من جميع من دونه عند انقطاع الرجاء من جميع من دونه. هو الذي يتوسط يتألف إليه عند الحوائج والشدائد. كل مخلوق. So we learn in the light of this hadith that Allah is the one that people end up turning towards accepting Him as Lord, worthy of worshipping at the time of their needs, hawa'ij, and at the time of shada'id, the hard times, hardships of life, hardships. Kullu makhluqin, every creature turns towards Allah as the times of their need and the times of trouble and hard times. Turn towards Allah as the worshipped one, turning towards Him when when the hope has been broken min jami'i man dunahu, from everyone other than Allah. When the hope is broken from everyone other than Allah, every creature turns to Allah without exception. fact of the matter. It's a fact of the matter. Even atheists and agnostics, that's fact of the matter. Every human being accepts one God by birth, because Allah, our Creator, created us as believers. We are created believers. We become unbelievers with our choice. Allah created us by birth, by virtue of our nature. We are inclined towards believing in one God. That's our call of nature. Nature takes us to get inclined towards worshipping one Allah. And that nature, which is the instinct of the human being, present in every human being, never gets killed, never gets massacred. It's just the piles of desires of our whims and wishes and desires. The piles of whims and wishes and desires pile up over the call and dictation of our nature, and we end up ignoring the call of the nature towards worshipping one God because of the piles of desires, and the voice gets muted. Voice of nature and instinct gets muted because of the piles of desires. So we end up worshipping our desires and whims and wishes so much in our life that the voice of our instinct calling us by birth, by nature to worship one God is diminished and muted. At the time of Hawa'ij, our needs, the time when you stand in need of seeking dua for your prayers, your issues there you are in need, and Shada'id, your hard times when you are going through, at that time what happens? What happens is that nobody else comes to help you out. When nobody else comes to help you out, you get totally broken away from having any hope attached to any creature other than God. When this situation arrives, even for an agnostic and atheist, that he loses complete hope from any and every creature who can come and help him in those extreme hard times, everybody turns towards none but Allah. So this is what, now when you are losing your hope, when you lose your hope from everyone and everything, all those piles of desires are removed, and the call of your instinct again surfaces up. And then your instinct, your fitrat, your nature calls upon you to turn towards Allah. No one else is there to help. No one else can help. You already tried so much. Nobody came for your help. And suppose you are drowning in the middle of Pacific Ocean, middle of nowhere. You are in a desert, dying of hunger and thirst, middle of nowhere. How far are you going to stay and keep on expecting somebody airlifting through a helicopter, airlifting water for you? You know it's not going to happen. You're about to breathe your last breath of life. Obviously your attachment with all the humans and all the creatures is gone. You no longer attach any hope with anybody else. That is where the piles of desires are gone because of the hard times that you go through. Hard times are one of the great blessings of Allah, because some people never end up realizing and turn towards their Creator except when they go through the hard times. So this is a blessing of Allah. That's where the pile of desires gets removed, and we end up turning back towards what our instinct was calling, fitrat was calling by birth, to be inclined towards worshipping one God. We end up turning towards Allah, accepting Him as our Creator, the worship one, the one who deserves to be worshipped only, because He's the only one who can fulfill your hajat at that time, and your troubles, remove your troubles at that time, and no one else can do that. This is what every creature does. Kullu makhluqin, including the atheists and agnostics. If they end up in that situations, you will see everybody does it. The point to note, one of the points to note is that it's not a big deal for a person to turn towards Allah in those situations, because now you have no other option except to turn towards Allah. was our responsibility as responsible human beings to turn towards our Creator 24/7, 365. Even though if we are not facing any apparent hardship or trouble, still we are supposed to turn towards Him and accept Him as worthy of worshipping and worship none but Him, not our desires. But most of the people don't do that. They only end up turning, a huge number of people only end up turning at the time of their hajat and needs, at the time of their troubles. At the time of hardship, everybody does it. That's not the sign of a believer. Even when Pharaoh was drowning under one wave, right? He also ended up saying that I now have Iman and faith in the Lord of Musa and Harun. When you do the tawbah in the final moments, it's never accepted by God. You did what you did throughout your life. Now that you find yourself helpless and you're about to die from this world, you do the tawbah. Because at the time when Pharaoh, with all of his huge army and support and armaments and people and advisors, all those are gone. Nobody can come to help you out from this wave of the water. Now that pile of desires is gone. Now the instinct surfaces up. Now the aql and intellect operates freely without any pressures, hang-ups from our desires. Now it's only aql left. Now that the aql is left and fitrat, instinct surfaces up, both of them, intellect, unimpaired with the desires, and instinct, after removal of the pile of the desires, make us inclined towards one Creator worthy of worship. This is where our scholars say that we are not only very powerful statement. I want each one of you to understand this statement, because this is a very deep point, and this is a life changer for every believer, every human being, if he understands that. So our scholars say we are not only muhtaj towards Allah. Muhtaj means a needy person. That's a very understatement. It's an understatement talking about Allah. If we say, yeah, we are all muhtaj and needy towards Allah. That's an understatement. That's not appropriate in the complete sense of the phenomenon. The appropriate way of saying is that we are the need itself. Not that we are a needy being. When you say we are a needy being, you are separating your being, your existence, away from the concept of ihtiyaj and need. That means being is something else, and your need towards God is something second, different, which is totally wrong. Totally wrong. Our existence and our need, the phenomenon of us being present and alive, and the phenomenon of us being in need of Allah can never be separated from each other. When we say I am only a needy being, muhtaj towards Allah, it's an understatement. That means what you are saying is that you are a being plus you have a need towards Allah. That's not appropriate to say. What is appropriate to say is this: we are aynul faqr and aynul ihtiyaj. We are nothing but the need towards Allah. That means not only you stand at the time of hajat and prayers and needs, not only you stand towards Allah in the time of shada'id and troubles, not only you stand in need of Allah at certain periods and certain times and certain places only in your life, your very existence and every bit and every piece and every moment and every point of your life and your entire existence itself is in need of Him to give His wish and will for your existence to continue for a fraction of a second. So if my eyes are blinking, if my kidneys are working, if my heart is pumping, if the intestines are moving forward and doing their job, if my hands are moving, if the blood is flowing, if the feet and legs are working, if my eyebrows are working, if the hair is growing, everything that you think of, for everything of my life and my existence itself, every moment of the life and every place of my life and every moment of my life, every part of me and my entire existence is nothing and zero without Allah's will. If the will of Allah ceases to exist for my eyes to blink, or my eyesight to continue, my vision to continue, my ear power to hear the voices, my tasting power to taste food through the tongue, my stomach to operate, my lungs to operate, my very existence to survive any further for a fraction of a second, he does not do the irada and will, I will not be there. Forget about turning in the time of hajat only. Your whole existence is in the need of Allah. So you are not a being with a hajat and need. You are nothing but the need. Is that clear? This is the reality of the matter. We are all Ainul Faqr. Saying that we are muhtaj towards Allah is an understatement. We are Ainul Faqr. This is the level of uluhiyyat, considering Allah to be the worthy of worshipping. That's the level we need to understand with this phenomenon. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.